Welcome to the Morning Report, a production of fightbackmedia.com, the #1 source of urban conservative information in America.
Well, good morning. My name is Willie Lawson, and this is the Morning Report. Um, it took me a while to decide I wanted to talk about this. Well, basically because it's a very, very gut-wrenching situation. This case of Karmelo Anthony, Karmelo with a K, who's 17, charged for murder for the stabbing death of I think his name is Austin Metcalf. Um, Apparently, what we know, or what we think we know, is they were at this track meet in Frisco, Texas, and there was a rain delay. Um, the victim and his twin brother had set up this little pop tent to protect themselves from the rain, I guess. And Anthony went in there. Something happened. There was a confrontation, and when it was all said and done, Karmelo Anthony stabbed, I think, Austin Metcalf in the chest and hit his heart and killed him. The story is that young Metcalf bled out in his twin brother's arms. There is, I mean, this is the saddest of things that could possibly that one could think of, and that they went to the hospital, of course, and because of the injury, he couldn't be revived, he couldn't be saved. While his father kissed his cold forehead and ran his hand through his hair, his son lay dead. I tell you what, I've always had a heart for parents that have lost children. A very good friend of mine said while he had buried his son and then his grandson and then later his own son, he said, this isn't right. Father should never have to bury his children. And I agree. My son's 34, and I can't imagine a world where he's not in it. He's 34. He is 30 years. He's 30 years younger than I am, and I can't imagine a world where he's not in it. So my heart goes out to the Metcalf family, the loss of their 17-year-old son. Can't even imagine. But I want to do this video this morning because what I see happening is terrible. What I see happening is that a lot of people on the left and the right are building arguments that support their general position on the left and the right. And you can see it by pictures. Now, you remember where Trayvon Martin's picture was shown. Every time Trayvon Martin's picture was on TV, it was a young picture of him in his football uniform, right? Not what he looked like at the time. I mean, the picture that they showed was 7 years old. He was a kid. He was a little kid. He was like a fifth grader in his football uniform, right? Looking all innocent, right? Not the kid who would curb stomp the dude to death. Why? Because the media was trying to build an emotion, right? That's what was going on there, right? Well, Trayvon didn't curb anybody to death. Sorry, but you see you see what I'm saying, right? And the picture you see now of Austin Metcalf. Austin is in his, he's in his football uniform, looking all tough, clean, and then the picture, and then you have Karmelo Anthony's photograph is obviously his mugshot, right? Well, because he's guilty and he's just another one of them, right? Well, the fact of the matter is that Carmelo Anthony had never been in any kind of trouble before that we know about, any kind. And he is not the son of a family that is, that's needy. They're fairly well off. And again, had never been in any trouble. But the situation is that he went into that tent, and there were three of them, as far as we know. It was Karmelo, Austin, and Austin's twin brother. There was something happened, and when it was all said and done, Austin was dead. Now, the only two people who know what happened in that tent are Karmelo and Austin. They're the only people who know. So this is going to be, he said. I don't know why Karmelo had a knife big enough to kill somebody with in his backpack. I don't know. And it wasn't like there are no reports anyway that he went in the tent with his knife and stabbed this young man. The report from Austin's brother is that he went in his backpack and got a knife. When that happened, I don't know. And neither do you. And neither does anybody else. He does not. We're going to find out, I guess. And we're going to find out together. All right, now let's get to the judge and reducing bail. The initial bail for Carmelo Anthony was $1 million. $1 million. Now, he was locked up in the county lockup. And if you watched any video of anybody who spent any time in jail, almost to a person, they'll tell you that the worst place and the most dangerous place to be locked up is the county lockup. That life for them got better locked up when they got moved to the state prison. And I think it's because it's less chaotic, it's more organized, for whatever reason. Now, Carmelo Anthony is 17. It's also 17 years old, right? So he's in the county lockup. His bail is $1 million. So what normally happens is when they have a case like that, especially with a minor, is that bail is reduced some to allow people to get out. The fewer people, especially teenagers, that they have to watch and take care of in the county lockup, the better. Now, the story that you heard in townhall.com, and we use town hall. I love townhall.com. Breitbart, I could use some Andrew Breitbart up in here today for sure. And Red State. I love all of these. I love all of these venues for information. I do. I use them and I love them. But what you hear, and especially on social media, is that his bail got reduced and he got released. What you don't hear is that his bail got reduced to $250,000, $250,000 that his parents are responsible for. Yes, I know. Don't tell me in the comments that I don't know how bail works. I know how bail works. They had to put up 25%, or excuse me, 10% of that bail, so they only had to put up $25,000. You got $25,000 you can put up for bail. That you got some assets worth $25,000. No, I guess as opposed to $100,000, because that would have been the difference. At $1 million, they would have had to find $100,000. So now they had to dig up $25,000. Hard enough to do. Not that their family is poor, but hard enough to do. And please, before you come at me in the comments, I'm not defending Karmelo. I'm not, because just like you, I don't know what happened. The purpose of this video is to keep people from going over the edge because they've been told to go over the edge. It happens on the left all the time, and I don't want it to happen. I don't want to see it happening on the right. I don't want to see us doing it. I want us to be more measured. I want us to find out what the facts are. We have people screaming about due process. Well, let's find out. Let's go ahead and use this time to find out what happened. Because soon enough, you're going to have the Al Sharptons and the Jasmine Crockett's and the AOCs. Soon enough, you're going to have them involved in all of this way more than they should be. What we need to do first is find out what happened. How sad is this situation? One family, the Metcalfs, have lost a son. And there's a very good possibility that the Anthonys may also lose a son to prison. They're not going to be able to get the death penalty on a 17-year-old. That's not going to happen. They've already talked about it. That's not going to happen. And if they go for it, they might not even get a conviction if they have the death penalty on the table. They're not going to be able to get a conviction if they go for life in prison without the possibility of parole. That's just a reality of where people are. It's just the reality of our situation. Now, however it turns out, we're going to have to trust the system, because this is it's a gut-wrenching thing. I don't know. Again, I don't know what happened, and neither do you. You don't know what happened in that tent. I tell you, two people know. And both stories are going to be told. And the jury is going to have to believe one of them, or some part of this story and some part of that story, and then come up somehow, amazingly, through divine providence, you have to come up with some sort of explanation and sentencing judgment. Guilty, not guilty, guilty by, not guilty by, whatever they have to come up with. I don't envy them. And the judge is going to have to come up with, if Karmelo gets convicted, with some penalty. Here's what we can't let happen. We can't let Karmelo Anthony become another George Floyd. Cannot. Which is why we have to start talking about this like normal people. And it's hard because a young man is dead. A family has lost their son. And the narrative looks like, and I understand the narrative looks like this. The narrative looks like black thug goes to track meet, looking for trouble, kills white kid, goes to prison, goes to jail, gets a GoFundMe, gets his bail reduced, and then his family buys a house. That narrative sounds awful. They buy a house in a gated community. But that's not how it happened. It's not how it happened. That was it. Give, Send, Go has about 400 grand in it, and it's going to be used for the legal fees. They also use some of the money that they had to raise themselves from their own pockets to move to where they are now, because it wasn't safe, not only for them. They have other children. And if Karmelo was coming home, obviously he's not headed back to school like ain't nothing happened, right? But he has siblings. So his parents are looking out for his other for themselves as parents and their other children. I think a reasonable person can understand that, right? Don't you think? I think so too. So they're going to do whatever they can to protect their other children. And at the same time, the Metcalf family is grieving. They're going to be seeking justice for their kid. And it's going to be a while. These things don't happen like on TV, like in 20 minutes. You know, like on Law and Order. Come back from commercial and they're at closing arguments. No, this is going to take a while. So this isn't just about this case. This idea is it's a reflection of a broader trend where public sympathy and crowdfunding can overshadow the gravity of the situation. What I mean by that is that this give send go or all of these GoFundMe sort of are the court of public opinion, right? And overshadow the gravity of what we're actually dealing with. And what I don't want to be escaped is this is what we're dealing with. Two 17-year-old kids. One is charged with murder and did it. Says he did it. Now, for legal reasons, everyone's saying alleged. Karmelo says, I did it. I did it in self-defense. I don't know if he did it in self-defense, and neither do you. And neither do you. You don't know. But folks, as we navigate these complex issues, it is crucial to remember the victims and their families. Justice should be blind, but it must also be just. So let's ensure our support goes to those who truly need it and uphold the values that bind us together. My name is Willie Lawson. This is the Morning Report. Just like always, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We'll see you when we see you. Bye-bye now.